welcome to my 23rd video. Thank you so much for joining me if you are a return subscriber, or hello if you are new. My name's Adrina and I'm an Australian teacher, a teacher's pay teacher seller and a mum. So things get a little bit crazy around here. Now in today's video I'm going to jump straight into a clip art tutorial, and I'm going to be basically showing you guys how to create clip art people using PowerPoint. So if you've never played with PowerPoint to create clip art, then this might be the video that you like to watch. In today's video I'm going to basically be showing you how to create these little clip art guys. I'll insert here so you're able to see what they look like. If you like the look of that and you want to know how to create these for yourself, then keep on watching. If you're someone who is wanting to create clip art and just isn't sure where to start, or you wanted to create clip art people but you just don't know, you just feel like you can't draw or anything like that, then feel free to keep watching because I'm going to walk you through this process. So without further ado, let's jump right in. Guys, so we're going to start off by opening up PowerPoint, and I've already got a presentation here, but if you are just wondering what kind of presentation you want to start off with, I'm just going to show you. So let's go into File, New Presentation, and we are going to start off with a portrait view page. So to do that, just go File, Page Setup. I'm going to go to letter paper, and I'm just going to make sure that these, in the orientation, that the pages are both facing up. Press OK, scale up, and then I've got a piece of paper. So I can just delete these two boxes. Now I am going to show you the clip art that we're going to be creating today. So I'm just going to insert that, as I've already saved them as clip art. So I've got two different clip art versions, which I've just altered, as you can kind of see on the screen. So obviously if you'd like to change the color of their skin tone and their hair, you can do that even if it's just on one particular clip art piece. So I'll be showing you how to do that through this tutorial as well. But let's just start off, and I'll just show you this is what the clip art piece looks like, and I'm just going to be showing you how I've created this all using PowerPoint. This is all through shapes. I've not drawn anything. I've just used my imagination to be able to create this smiling boy. And then I will just show you the other one that I did create, because it's the same boy, but I've just changed up the colors to make another little boy here. So you can kind of see those two, they have the same hair shape, they have the same eye shape, the eyebrows are exactly the same, the whole thing is the same. I've just changed it up to make them look different in their appearance from changing their skin tone and their hair. So let's get straight into this tutorial, and for anyone that is just wondering about what I'm going to be using to create these, it's all using the mouse. So we're just going to be using, if you go to the Insert tab up the top and you go to Shapes, all of these shapes are what we're going to be used to be creating these little guys today. Okay, so to begin with, I want to start off with the face shape. You might not expect this, but I'm not actually going to be using a circle to start off with my head shape. I'm actually going to be using this rectangle, which is called the rounded rectangle. So I'm going to grab him and I'm going to make him pretty big. What I am going to do too, what I like to do at least from my experience, is I like to change the zoom, and I like to bring it down to about 100%. You can change it to however you like, but basically when you're creating clip art, this is from my experience that I found myself personally. I like to do this because the bigger that you create the clip art, the more ability it has to kind of resizing when you're inserting it into particular things. If you start off with the clip art really small on the page and then you try to save it as a clip art piece, then it will become more pixelated when you're trying to expand it. So to start off bigger, it's always easier, and it helps with it when you're resizing it. So I've got my rounded rectangle. Now I'm going to go this little yellow thing here. It's like a little yellow box, and I'm going to basically just move it to a point where it's going to then create this rounded shape. Alrighty, so now I'm going to go to Shape, Format. I'm going to fill in a colour. So when you're looking at colours, you've got these as your theme colours and your standard colours. If you want any more, you just go to more fill, and you can kind of just play around with this colour wheel. A lot of you that are watching this probably already know that, but just for those that are brand new to this, that's just where you can kind of get different variations of colours. You've got different ways you can see them through here. And you can choose them differently through here, but I usually personally just use this colour wheel. Sometimes I will use, I'll just show you, for example, if I'm looking for a colour, sometimes I will just click on one of these, and then what I'll do from there is I'll go to more fill, and because it will already be on that colour, then I can move it around that way to kind of change it up a little bit with the colour tone, if that makes any sense. So for today, we're just going to change it to like that colour, and we are going to then change the shape outline. So we've got to make sure that the shape is selected, go to shape outline. Now I like to keep it at about 6. You can make this bigger if you prefer, but it just really, this is personal preference to see how you personally like the thickness. Some people would like it thinner, some people like it thicker. 6 at this moment is sort of like fine for me, but I will just show you if you do want to make it thicker, then 6, you can go to design, you can go to format background, and then you can actually go and double click here, or just click it I think, and just click line, and then you'll see here it says width 6. You can change that actually to, say if I want it to be 10 instead, it'll make it thicker as well. For now I'm going to keep it at 6 because I'm happy with 6. Alright, now we're going to be doing the eyes. So I'm going to go back to my shape panel, and I'm going to actually be choosing the moon shape. I know that sounds a little bit strange, and you're probably thinking, how can you make an eye with a moon? But let me just show you. So it's in basic shapes. Let's click moon. Now you just have to kind of create it to how you like it on the screen. And then what I'm going to do, see this yellow box again, I'm going to move it down, and I'm actually going to turn it around. So I've got an eye. Now it's way too big, so I'm going to basically just move it to how I want it. Now, because I'm using these as my templates, I've already created these by hand before, so I'm just using these to kind of reference. So this one that I create here for you guys is not going to be exactly the same, but it will be very similar. So let me just show you now what to do. So you've got your eye, you want to place it, make it as big or small as you like it. I think that's pretty good here for me. And then I'm going to basically just fill this in with white, and I'm going to change the outline, and I'm going to make the outline, now I'm going to actually make the outline a little thinner than 6, so I might even stick to 4 for this one. And again, you can change this little part here by clicking that yellow box if you like. So I'm going to now, this is a little trick for anyone that is just brand new to this. If you want to have the same image, so see how I've got this moon here, if I want to just make another copy of that, all I need to do on my, I'm using a Mac, I hope that it's the same on a PC, or like if you're using Windows, it might just be Control D, but for me on a Mac it's Command D. So I just go Command D and it duplicates it. Perfect. So I can see that I can move my eyes now. Now, if you are really pedantic about this, I will say you can actually make them exactly on the same level. So if you just hold down Shift and click both of them, then if you go up to the shape format tab, you go to align, and then you go to align to bottom, then that will align exactly in order if you like to. But if you like to have a bit of that organic feel, you can have them just placed by your eye sort of thing. Okay, so I've got my eyes there, and you can always alter these to, again, like as small or as big as you want, and you can make them any way that you like. But for me, I'm just going to have them happy looking like that. And I'm going to do what I just did again. I'm actually going to duplicate this again. So I've got another one here. Now what I'm going to do, this is going to be the color of the eye. So I'm going to just now make that a little smaller and try to align it with the other eye, or the white of the eye, I should say, as best as I can, so that it sits on that black line. So it will take a little bit of time just to kind of experiment and feel it out. And yeah, so that's that. I'm going to just duplicate this and do that on the other side. Just line it up. And so that is the inside part, which will end up being the colour of the eye. So just so that we don't get confused, let's actually colour this in. So for this little guy, let's give him green eyes for this example. So we'll give him green eyes by just clicking that shape fill. Again, you can choose whatever colour you like. But I'm going to do the same thing again. So I'm just going to click on that. I'm going to go Command D on a Mac, Control D on a PC or Windows. And I'm just going to make that smaller to make the black of the eye. Create the black. And just do the same thing, Command D. And put it on the other side. Now, to make this really pop, again, you can also just quickly change the size of this if you want this smaller or if you want it bigger. I think I'm just going to change it a little bit smaller for this guy. But what you really want to do, what makes this eye pop, is when you add a little bit of shine to it. So I'm going to add a little circle. So just go into your shapes again, just find the circle. And just on the edge of the black and the green, you want to create a little circle. Now, what you do want to do is you just want to fill it in white and you want to take away the outline. You don't want the outline on this. It just gives it that little reflection. You can put them anywhere that you like. I've just put them kind of like on opposite sides, if that makes sense. But you can also change it to like be on the same side. It's totally up to you where you want to add your little shine. For me, I'm happy enough with them being kind of opposite. But again, choose how and where you want to put your shine to how you like it. Now, for the nose, all we need to do is we're actually going to cheat here again and just click on this, duplicate it again. Now, this is going to look strange, but let me just explain. So let's make it smaller. And now it's going to look like this is a mouth, but it's not going to be a mouth, okay, you guys? So I'm going to just make it smaller. And that's probably about right. What I'm going to do though is I'm actually going to fill this in with the same colour, and you'll notice if you've just used a recent colour, it should come up in recent colours and you can just click that. And so now I'm going to actually go and just insert, and I'm going to just grab something straight, doesn't matter what shape it is. I'll just use a plain rectangle square, and I'm going to just cover that, and I'm going to just fill it in and actually take away the outline. And so you can kind of see that is the nose. Now, if you want to obviously alter this nose, you can make it sort of, just alter it to make it smaller, to make it bigger, or whatever you want to do to make that little nose. But just make sure this little piece is covering, because if I take that off, you'll see that's there. Just going to make sure that's covering, and so then it looks like a nose. Now, what we're going to do, same thing, we're going to cheat again, and we're going to actually just duplicate the same one here, and we're actually going to flip him around. So see this little turny part here? We're going to flip him around to make... Okay, so we're going to turn that around like I said and make it look more like a happy face. But what we're going to do is we're going to extend it out and just make it kind of to however you like for the mouth. You can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I might just kind of make it in that middle range, but basically I want this guy to be kind of like really smiley. So let's do that. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of cheat, and I'm going to duplicate the black part of the eye, and I'm just going to bring it up, and I'm going to just extend it out to create the eyebrows. Now I will need to make sure that I'm moving the little yellow box to make it a little bit thinner, and then I can make sure that I can move it this way. Please, I'm just going to say my little son's awake just hanging out, so if you do hear him in the background, then he's there. So anywho's, I'm going to just colour this in. So I'm just going to put it brown for now. We might change that down the... Oh, let's not move that. But we might change that down the track. And again, if you are just so brand new to this, if you've made a mistake and you want to go back, all you need to do is do Command Z or Control Z if you're on a PC. And so yeah, you just want to kind of move the eyebrows around. The eyebrows are something that is really going to, I guess, make or break your character. Eyebrows show so much expression. So you can make a character look kind of like really evil. For example, you can just put them closer together to make them evil. You can even make them look a little worried by just changing the eyebrows, or like awkward, or like, oh, like what's going on here? So by changing the eyebrows, you can really do a lot. Again, if you want to make someone angry, you could even like, you'd have to change these around, make them closer. You could also like, you'd have to change, that looks more evil actually, but you could flip that around to make him look angry. So yeah, I'm just basically just showing you a couple little ideas that if you're wanting to make somebody that's not just a happy person or a happy boy, then you can obviously utilize your shapes. Eyebrows in particular and the mouth are really going to show the expression. So we just want kind of like a neutral, happy kind of fellow, and we're just going to, Control Z, move that back, and yeah, we just move that until you're happy with it. And like I said, we might change the color of the eyebrows, but for now we'll just keep them brown. So that's almost the face done. We are now going to be doing the ears. So we've got your face. Now what I do for the ears, again, I do a little bit of a cheat. I just click on, so we've already created this circle kind of face. So all I need to do is go Command D, and then I've got another face duplicated. But what I'm going to do is just kind of make this smaller. And so I'm just going to put it down to the side. So I still want that circular shape, but you can see obviously I'm overlapped here. Now when you're creating clip art on PowerPoint, you do kind of want to think of it as layers. So what I'm going to do here, because I've got all of these elements that are here, yes darling, I've got all of these elements that are here, and I need to make sure that this goes to the back. So for me to be able to do that and put that on the back of the page, so it's not in front of every one of these, I'm going to just right click it with my mouse, and you'll see something say send to back. And we don't want to just send backwards, because that would just send it behind the last item. We want to send all the way to back. There's a little shortcut if you want to use that, you can, but I just usually just right click and just click the send to back. So then you've got an ear here, and you can obviously move that up and down to however you want. You can make them have a really big ear, you can make him have a really tiny ear. So I'm just going to have like a medium-sized ear. And then I'm going to actually just duplicate that, and I'm going to send this one to the back as well. And you can kind of see that's there, and just kind of eyeball it. If you are pedantic with this kind of stuff, just press shift and click on the other one, go up to the top, align, and then just align it to the bottom, and it will match where it is. So you can do that as well. Now for the hair, this is where it gets a little trickier. And so do try and pay attention to this part, because we're going to kind of be freestyling the hair. This is a part where you don't necessarily need to know how to draw, but you do need to know how to click. So, and the way that you're clicking is going to determine how your shapes kind of come out. But basically, I have a tool that I use here in the shape tool. It's kind of my magic tool. I love this tool. I'm so glad they incorporated this tool. But basically, this tool allows you to draw. Or to create field shapes with this tool. And the tool is under lines, and it is under curve. So what I want you to do, or what I want you to think about, is when you're creating your curves for the hair, you can do it any way you like. The way I do it to begin with is I kind of just start from the edge of the ear, and then I'm just going to kind of just click little sections at a time, kind of just give him a little bit of spikes. Again, you can kind of just do it any way you like. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just kind of spike it out. So again, mine's not going to be exactly the same as to the one that I have created, as I am just showing you an example. And so yeah, just keep on clicking to however you like the hair to look. It doesn't have to be perfect. Then you want to just kind of match it up. And what you want to do from here is, now don't be worried about this. You can go straight across, or you can just go over the eyebrows. I will show you why this doesn't really matter, because all you need to do is make sure that these connect up. So you can see I've got that there. Now, I want a bit of forehead still. So for me to have a bit of forehead, what I need to do is actually let's just colour it in. Let's just give him brown hair for now. And what I want to do is I want to change the shape outline. Let's change the weight again to 6. And we don't want it blue, we want it black. And the reason why we obviously want to keep it black is because if you are wanting to create a black and white version for this makes it a lot easier. So now I've got this hair that's kind of sticking out over the forehead, and I don't want that. So what I want to do is I want to actually send this to the back, and you can alter this higher, lower, obviously however you like it, but I'm just going to right click like I did before with the ears and send to back. Okay, so now he has this part of his forehead that's like looking a bit crazy. So I don't want that either. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to draw some more hair to match this. So I might actually just bring this up a tiny bit, and then what I'm going to do is I want to grab that magic tool again, the curve tool, and I'm going to now just do sort of the same thing, and I'm going to just like add a little bit of some curves, again, all kind of like little jagged edges, just to kind of give him the illusion that he's kind of got like hair flowing or sticking up or whatever you want to say. And so this may take a little bit of time before you are happy with it, but basically you just want to go around the forehead part where you can see that black line, and you want to just kind of interlink these up. And so you've got that. Now, this is just where I want you to pay attention. So we're going to change the weight again to 6. We're going to colour it in, and then you can see that I'm left with this black line here that I'm kind of moving, and I'm showing you on the screen here now. Now, we don't want that. We don't want him to look like he's got a headband on at this point. So this is where it's interesting. This is where I'm going to layer on shapes, or I can just draw a shape to combat that. So you can do this various ways, but I would say the easiest way for now would just be to draw. So use the curve tool again. Just find a spot that is not going to be too tight. So I'll start here, and I'll just go around this black line. So I kind of go on top of it. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as the black line is covered, that's what you want to be looking at. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean, because there are ways to fix it up as well, but I just want to show you that you can just go all the way over it, fill it in, and then what we're going to do is actually fill the shape in with brown, with the same color as the hair, and then we're going to actually take away the outline. So as you can see, that's now made it look like the hair is kind of more seamless. Okay, so there are parts that need a bit of fixing up. As you can see, I'll zoom in and you'll be able to see this clearer. So see how this little line is like a bit mismatched, and here, so the same thing is you can just find some shapes to go over that. So maybe even I could try using this little circle shape. Okay, so you can move this around to make it a little bit more seamless, and I will show you another way to also fix this up if you're not happy fully with that. But I'm going to just duplicate this circle, and I'm going to just try and fill in this little gap as well here, so it looks a bit more seamless, like I said. And I can see there's a little part there that needs to be, there we go. Okay, so if you're not quite happy with the edge that has come up from just replacing it with a shape, then you can actually go over it again with that curve tool. And so say, for example, I want to fix this part up. Let me just draw a little line. It doesn't have to be big, but we want to change the size again. And you can see how that's kind of, you just have to try and line this up to the best of your ability to make it look a bit more seamless. It does take, this can be finicky, this part, if you're wanting to get it like perfect, but for the most part, you know, it doesn't have to be 100% perfect, because you're not going to notice those tiny details. But if you like to just make it a little bit more seamless, then you can do it that way. Okay, so let's just zoom out. Now what we want to do is we want to add a little bit of detail to the ears. So this, you could easily do the same thing that I've done here, and I could just duplicate this, and I could make this smaller, and then I could send these to the back. So I'll show you what I mean. So I could actually click both of these. So just by pressing shift, and I'll send both of these to the back, and then you've got your ear like that, and you can just move that around to however you want. Otherwise, if you want it like sort of how I've done it in this, like in this one, then you can just delete that and you can just create it by freehand again using that curve tool. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be looking like a bit of like a, what's the word? Just like an arc sort of. So just change it to black and make it a little bit thicker in its weight. And yeah, voila, you can do that. And then all you need to do then is just click that, duplicate it again, Command D. And an easy way to do this is you've got this shape selected, you go up to the top here, click rotate, and then go horizontal. And so that's that. Now, so to add a little bit of extra detail to my little guy, I want to give him a bit of color in his cheeks. So I'm going to go insert. I'm going to give him a little bit of some rosy cheeks. So I'm just going to make a circle. And this is another little tip that I'd like you to just keep note of, because this is one way to get like a little character looking kind of cuter, I suppose. And also it's just a nice little tip to know. So if I want to just change the color, then I can choose a color that I like for him. Sometimes I even start with the skin tone that I'm using and then just go down a little bit and just press OK. And so I just take the outline away. But what I'm going to show you here is if you go to shape format, and it would be under here. So it'll be in the when you go to fill shape options, it should be in fill, and you'll see this transparency color tab. So you can make it as transparent or as opaque as you like. So I just like to add a little bit of transparency just so it's not too harsh. And it gives them a little bit of color still. You can also, I will just say, there are things you can do with these shapes as well to give it. So if you go into this pentagon effects tab here, you can make and do a lot of different things with these type of things. Actually, you can give it a shadow and do a lot of other things, but I'm not going to talk about that now. But I'm just letting you know that there is other options you can do with it. And I find it easier to use this tab if you're going to go and add any of those. What I find it easier to do is just click it and then click on shape effects here, and it gives you the preview of what you can actually do with it. So for example, if I wanted a soft edge, this is the hardest edge, this is like a soft edge. Well, nothing, that's actually taken it away, so that's probably too much of a soft edge. But if I wanted to show you, like, let's do that, then it will kind of just blur the edges a little bit. But I'm not too worried about that. I'm just going to keep it as that harsh edge and just with the transparency. So I'm just looking at these two little fellows, and I noticed that these guys, this little fellow's eye with this fellow I'm creating with the green eyes has eyes that are a little bit bigger than this guy. And that's okay. Again, it's not meant to be identical. This is just to show you the process of creating. And I can see his eyebrows actually a little bit bigger. But again, you can just customize this to however you want. And I would just say, if you are wanting to give him a little bit of that line to give him some teeth, the same thing. You just add a curve and you just draw in as best as you can. And then what I like to do, instead of using plain black, I just like to use like a, oh, not that. I like to use a bit of a grey, and I just make it a little bit bigger. And maybe that might be a little bit too big. So let's change the weight again, maybe to 2. And then I can even change the transparency as well of that by just clicking the transparency line over here. So you can see he's a very smiley kind of boy. Okay, I just want to show you one last little trick before I export this fellow. So if I click on the little green eye and I want to add a little bit more like detail, if I don't want just a plain straight color, what I can actually do is actually add a gradient fill. So the gradient fill that I usually like to use is the third one down. It's the easiest one because it's only got 3 little things to change. So you can kind of see how that's added a bit more. If I compare this, so I have to put that one next to it. So you see how that's just a flat blue color, and this is given that bit of a gradient. This is really good to add a little extra detail into your picture. If I was to do that with the other one, I just click gradient again, and it will copy the gradient that I just did. So it's just added that little bit of extra detail that can make all the difference if you are wanting to have a bit more dimension into your image. So anyway, that is that. I'm going to show you now how to export this fellow. So if you're wanting to use your clip art, I want to show you how to save it, and I want to show you how to actually alter it also to make it black and white, because I know that's an important feature. So to be able to save this fellow, literally, if I was to try and move it now, if I was to grab the face and try and move it, I would just grab the shape that I've grabbed. So Control Z, we don't want to do that. So what we need to do to be able to export is we actually have to click down and select the whole image. Select it, and you want to click on group. And so now that I've grouped it, it just basically means all shapes are now in a group exactly how they are. And so I can move him, and I can move him in different kind of way. But we don't want to just group him. We want to actually save him, because if I was to group him and just move him, like I can move him and he will change. Whereas I don't really want that. In some cases that can be good too if you're wanting to alter your picture, but I'm not wanting to alter my picture anymore after this. I want it to stay like that, and I want it to enlarge or scale down in size the way it is. So for me to save it, I just right click and I click on Save as Picture. So once I save it as a picture, I'm just going to save it to my desktop for now. Let's call him Smiling Boy 3. So Smiling Boy 3, and I just realized we changed his eyes to blue, so that's fine. But again, you can choose whatever color you like. And what I'm going to show you now is I'm going to insert him. So insert picture from file, and I'm going to click, so it will be on my desktop, and I can see it there already, Smiling Boy. So what you'll notice is if I am to descale this, he's not going to move really in the size of if I was to just move him as a group. So if I was to move him as a group, can you see how things are expanding? Can you see how things are expanding and moving? So we don't want to have that when we're using our clip art. This one, because it's just group, we have the ability to edit it and change colors to make another person. This one though, because we aren't able to edit it, that's the picture it's going to be. So if I'm wanting to now create let's just delete him. If I'm wanting to create a black and white version of this, I'm just going to, what I usually like to do is just create a new slide, just add a new slide. I'm going to click on him because this is just a grouped version of him. I'm going to copy him and I'm going to paste him there. And so what this allows me to do, it now allows me, I've got the original here and I've got the black and white version I'm going to do here. Now, this is one thing that you have to be mindful, because we have shapes that have overlapped some of the other shapes, and to cover the black version of them, we are going to have to recolor them in. And so one of the easiest ways to do this is just by clicking on each piece individually and just clicking and changing it to white. That's one of the easiest ways to, well, I wouldn't say the easiest ways, but it's one of the ways that I would say probably if you've got little like sections where you've added things on top to cover some of the black lines, and this is one of the best ways to do it. So as you can see, I'm changing all of these. You probably in your final version, you can either choose to outline and make it thicker if you like to keep the circles on there. So let's just keep the circles there just for the purpose of this video. Otherwise, you may decide you don't want them there. So let me just fill in all of this. You can see that we're changing it now to black and white. Fill that in, fill that in, fill that in. And I would recommend you can, if you would prefer, you can take away these dots if you want to, if you don't want to have the shine. But I think the shine does add a nice little feature to it. And you can also choose to whether you want to have this black. I would personally keep the black, but if you wanted to fill it in with white, you could also do that, and you could also change this to make it a black outline. If you wanted to have it like that, you could as well. But I personally like the look of just like the black, just sort of like that. That's what I would go in and be happy with for a black and white version. Again, if you didn't want to keep the circles as the cheeks, you could always just duplicate them. You could have two versions. You could actually have one where you just get rid of the cheeks so he looks like that. So that looks really good as well on its own without the cheeks. But if you did like the little bit of cheek colouring in area, then you can do that too. Personally, I think I like this one just a bit more, and if kids wanted to add a little bit of colour, they could just add colour to the cheeks. But I would just save them, so you could save them as two different versions. For example, save as picture. We could go to just save on desktop. Okay, so I can just save that as boy 3, black and white cheeks. I apologise about the noises in the background. Okay, that's just what you got to do as a mama. So we will have, let's just add a new slide and we can check them all out. All right, so I've just added a little background just so we can kind of see what they look like. So let's go insert pictures and let's choose the 3 that we created. So not that one, we made this one, and this one today, just in this session. So you can see how, because I've made them big, they come out big, but it's good because then they can be resized a lot easier. And like I said, the reason why I like to create them on a bigger scale than what if I was just to create them this size and zoom up is because you have more flexibility with the resizing of it. So that's what I really enjoy, and this is what I learned from trial and error. So as you can see, you've got your new Clipart that you can do whatever with. You can add some text to it to create a product for TPT or whatever you like. So let's just do emotions. Let's just give it a title, emotions, for example. Let's just give it a title. You could use these in your boom cards. You could use these in your PowerPoint presentations, in your classroom decor. You could do so much with the stuff that you create. And don't get me wrong, I am a Clipart fanatic in a way. I love other people's clip art, but I also really enjoy having the flexibility of being able to do whatever I want with my clip art that I create that's original. So yeah, I really like the flexibility of being able to create your own clip art. I know it does take time, but what I do enjoy is when you create your own things, then you can use it for any purpose that you like to, and it's also a little bit extra original because you've made it. So that's one reason I like creating clip art. And yeah, I hope this little tutorial served you, and I hope that you found some value in this, and I really enjoy making this type of clip art. I personally really am enjoying creating clip art on Procreate, but there are times where I actually really have a moment and I really like creating clip art on PowerPoint, and it's just amazing because you don't have to necessarily be the best drawer in the world. You just need to know how the shapes kind of can interact to create something. So yes, that is that. Okay guys, that sums up this video. I hope that you enjoyed creating clip art with me on PowerPoint. I hope that you learned something new today. I hope that this has empowered you to give it a go yourself. Now, this is an amazing way that you can create clip art for yourself, and especially if you are a teacher or you're somebody that creates content and you're wanting to create your own clip art, then this is the perfect way to do it, and you can obviously use it in your own teachers pay teachers worksheets without having to worry about terms of use or anything like that. That's one great thing of creating something yourself. You've got full control of what you want to do with that particular piece, and it's yours. So yeah, I hope you gave this a go, and I hope maybe you've tried to do a few little things to add and make yours a little bit different to mine. But yeah, I just hope that this has helped in some sort of way just to guide you through the process of creating, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. So if you did, don't forget to give it a like, and yeah, I just want to say thank you for all the people that have decided to join me on my journey. If you'd like to see more kind of clip art tutorial videos like this, then feel free to subscribe, as I am going to be putting some more out in the future. Alright, thanks guys, and I hope you have an amazing day, and I'll see you in my next video. Also, before I leave, if you have any requests of particular videos you want to see from me, then feel free to write them down below. Alrighties guys, see you in my next video. Adios!